Hello, welcome. Today we're going to do a little unveiling of our new 2021 Flyfoil wing surfboard. This is the smaller of the boards. This is a 410 by 55 liters. So the specs can all be seen here at the back of the board. Okay, 410 by 25.2 wide, 3 inches thick. So it's a little thinner than your average wing board, but this is the high performance model. This year we have handles in the bottom as well as in the deck, so that's convenient if you're no matter which way you're carrying it, but especially if you're carrying it with the foil attached, they can get very unwieldy. It's a full carbon foam sandwich construction, 100% all the way around, with a lot of extra reinforcement. We have 5 special added patches here in the box area and connecting the boxes and the handles, which are fit into blocks of high density PVC foam. So the PVC foam actually joins the deck to the bottom, so you have the monocoque construction plus the interior blocks create a support through the entire board. So a lot less flexing of the deck and less of the boxes rocking forward and back. So a lot of boards out there, you'll see after a while they get beat up around this area. This board is designed for hard use and extreme performance, and should hold up very good. Another thing you'll see in our design is classic to our line of boards is you have a concave deck the entire way. If you've ever used a concave deck, you'll know what I'm talking about. Very comfortable to ride, very natural underneath your feet, gives your board a great alignment, and you really kind of have a feel for where your board is at. It tends to make you a lower center of gravity in the middle of the board. It's not a dome deck, okay? It's not like riding your grandpa's, cigar-shaped windsurf board. It is a more like your flat wake-style boards that you'll ride. Lower center of gravity, which is great. Also a lot of rocker, nose rocker and tail rocker. So what you notice about these boards, even though they're shorter than previous years, they're even shorter still with the amount of flat area on the rocker line underneath the board. So you have all of this area under the nose with rocker and a tail rocker as well. And what's that good for? That's good for pumping. So when you're trying to get up on the plane, you're pumping the board and trying to get up on the foil. So very good for that. But is the board less stable? Well, of course, when you shorten the waterline length and you put a lot of tail rocker, a lot of nose rocker, you're going to pay for that with a little bit of instability. This board is wide and very boxy, square, wide tail, wide nose, and that gives your board like that 4 points of contact stability as you're initially getting going. So this is a board that the light people can just do a dead start with, but the heavier guys, you're going to be sinking the board and doing more of a water start, semi-submerged. Okay, 55 liter is like the magic amount of volume. So you might be submerged, semi-submerged under your knees. So you're going to get your balance and do a semi-deep water start on this board. Okay, Flyfoils. All Flyfoils wing surf boards have foot straps options. So you can accommodate inline straps here, and you can have the V straps or the Y straps. So you can have a single strap on the front, you can have a couple of V's, you can have a single offset. A lot of people will just ride one way, go for your regular style. You can set it up like that. And the back strap, optional for a lot of people. What we've done this year is given you basically about 14 inches total connected inserts. So that means you can start way up here if you're light or you're small. So the kids and the ladies, if they're riding this board, because smaller people like smaller boards, you can have the back strap up here, keep the weight forward and centered. And for the bigger guys who are using it as a high performance board, like me later today, I'll have this back strap further back and quite balanced. You can see the straps also very centered on the board. They're not up here on the tail. Okay, they're right here in the middle. And why is that? Well, we want to maximize our utilization of the volume that we're left with. Only 55 liters. But those liters and that buoyancy is going to be right under your stance. So when you drop off the foil and you come down, you touch down in between gusts, or maybe when you're learning how to transition, that volume stays right underneath you. The tail's not going to sink, the nose is not going to sink, it's going to be right under, so you're going to do just basically a vertical, nice trim angle touchdown, even if you go underwater. Okay, at times you'll be burying the board under the water, maybe 6 inches if you're a heavy guy. The board center of lift and buoyancy will be right underneath you, so you don't have a big cork on the nose, big cork on the tail, so you don't have to shift your weight radically from your natural sailing position to try and balance it when it comes off the foil. Okay, so we've got an easy riding board. It has plenty of options. When you first get your board, I recommend take it out strapless and get used to how you feel. A strapless board, you attach your foil in the middle. If you don't know any better, just put it right in the middle of the tracks. And you don't know exactly where you're going to stand because every board balances differently. And you're going to get used to where your feet go. Look down, count off the inserts, and figure out where you're going to want your straps, or if you're going to want straps. It's up to you. Okay, you have a leash position back here. Okay, most of you will be using a surfboard leash back there. A coiled leash is good. And so we're going to attach that back there. Go on. And all right. And what else is there to say? Okay, here's the leash. Okay, so this is the kind of a leash that we're going to be recommending you use. And there's other leash styles available. You can do a waist leash or something like that. The beauty of this kind of leash, though, and why we use them, in case you don't know, is they don't drag in the water. So when you have all the benefits of being on a foil and you're planing along and you've got low drag, the last thing you want is your leash slapping in the water. It's just like someone throwing an anchor out the back of your board. So get a nice little coiled leash. This is about a 5-footer, and that'll give you, plenty of room to get away from the board when you have a wipeout, but not so much that it's going to drag in the water. Okay, so that's the leash. So the big brother to this one is the 5.0 84 liter. And we'll take a look at that one. Yeah. All right. Now, first thing you may notice about this board is the thickness. So, the zeitgeist, or the trend for the wing boards right now, is for a very thick board, a little bullet-shaped board. Boom. As we call this one, the white Stallion. Okay, now this board, very compact shape, a lot of volume. In fact, this year, our 5-foot board has more volume than last year's 5'6" board. So we went 6 inches shorter. We went up from 66 to 84 liters. So that's 18 extra liters. So where do the liters come in? You might be surprised to learn that this board is only 1 inch thicker than the little brother, the 55 liter version. This is 4 inches thick. But again, we still have the concave deck, so you've got that lower center of gravity, that nice secure feeling. It's not topsy-turvy, it's a low center of gravity. We've got 2 handles, the same foot strap arrangements. It's a little bit of a higher volume board, so you'll see boards like this have our pressure compensating valve. You don't touch that. That is set to do its own thing. It has a little Gore-Tex membrane in there that's going to do its own thing. That's good for if you're flying or if you're driving to high altitudes, up and down the mountain, I don't know. And then, so the pressure is compensating the board so you don't get any bubbling or blowouts. Okay, other than that, the shape is a little bit very similar. Okay, we have a chine edge tucked under rail, which is very good for when you're touching down. Okay, so if you look at the end of the board, okay, the rails are very high centered with a big cutout underway. So that means you're not going to grab rail as you're heeling the board over and going hard upwind or in choppy conditions. got a lot of nose rocker, but a thick nose, so you're not going to be sinking the nose for lack of volume. The tail too, it's got a lot of kick to the tail. The tail kick is good for pumping the board, for generating those early leg pumps to get up and going on the foil. All right, now a little subtle difference in the two shapes is we added a quad concave into triplane for the smaller model, and this is a single concave to triplane on the larger one. Same as last year. The shape works really good. It's a classic shape. It's excellent. Both of these boards have flat zone where we attach the foils, so you can move the foil back and forth. You don't have any high points creating stress on the structure of the board or anything that limits your ability to utilize the entire track. So that's our offerings for this year, and of course we have other sizes available, but these are our most popular two sizes. Okay, 55 liter, 84 liter, our two best sellers for 2021. Thanks for joining us. Come online to flyfoils.com and we can show you all the specs there, or check us out online. Take care and aloha.